right, we are here back live again on the Very Opinionated Show, and we got our guest again, Maximilian, again, grad from U of H, and he is going to be hosting with me tonight until the gorgeous Miss Snow come in. He is filling in for her. Come on, say hello to the people, man.
Hello everybody, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's staying safe and warm during this inclement weather. If you don't have power, man, I just really hope you get it quickly.
All right, that's what we're going to kind of hit on tonight is Houston weather and all the events that has occurred during this winter freeze that we're not really used to in Houston, Texas. First, I just want to, send prayers out to everyone that is going through. Hopefully that you all stay warm and together and just be patient. However, of course, I'm always going to have to get right to the point, put Houston on blast. Houston never is prepared for when natural disasters happen. Max, you got to tell me what's going on with that. Why are we never prepared?
Because this weather is bipolar, man. I mean, come on, we go from a tank top and a shirt to a freaking coat and, furry boots and stuff. I mean, it's difficult to be prepared, but however, I guess if you're going to touch up on the subject, it's imperative to point out, how weak the infrastructure of this city is. I mean, one little snow blast, winter blast, and all of this happens. And we are supposedly a really progressive nation, very successful, and we have such a weak infrastructure, I think we can do better than that. I mean, there's no reason why so many people should be without a power. For example, at my place, I mean, people were out for a day and a half without power.
Without power? Without
power. I spoke to the lady today who told me she put on 3 or 4 different shirts and 2 or 3 different pairs of pants and put on a big coat, and she was just trying to sleep through the night. And, that's horrible.
Now, is it safe to say which maybe a light company that service you guys area where you stay at? Because I know here, even though I got Constellation, but they are, think through Reliant Energy for some kind of, I don't know how they, I guess connect with each other. But however, I mean, Houston is well over 5 million people, and Harris County spreads out, of course, Fort Bend County, and other surrounding county. But it's strange to me is that you mean to tell me they chose to make that decision in cutting down power. I don't know what to save what. I mean, if you're not prepared, why cut it down? So that goes back to my original question. Right. I just don't believe Texans is never prepared for any type of natural disaster, whether it's flooding, hurricane, tornadoes. We never prepare. There's always trying to get prepared after the event, but never before the event. Knowing that, hey, you never know.
Are all the Texans procrastinators? I mean, do we all just procrastinate or like, it's Texas, we got this, no problem?
You know what? Maybe because we never had this type of weather before. I just believe that because we ain't never really experienced, event, people just don't really prepare. I just believe in prepared for the just in case. That's why we have insurance.
Right. Insurance
is basically saying just in case you get into a wreck, just in case your house burned down, you will give you the money to rebuild or to repair your car. Exactly. But I just don't. I just Houston never prepared. It's always been that way. I've been here living almost for 40-something, 50 years. Houston never prepared.
It's not necessarily just that. I mean, particularly during this time, it's really important, to bring attention to, let's say, the homeless community. I mean, you have people out there in a tent under the freeway, man, freezing on this freezing cold temperature, in a tent, trying to bundle up, trying to stay warm. And, honestly, a whole lot of people pays a whole lot of taxes, and how come we just never can, you know, provide enough shelter and food for, you know, people who are in need?
Again,
Why is that?
we just not prepared. We never prepared. Now, I would think after Harvey, we were like, okay, just in case another natural disaster may happen, let's be prepared. Let's open up the George R. Brown. Let's open up some of these mega churches.
Oh yes,
you know,
that's an excellent point.
You know, I just believe if the church is going to talk about Jesus being the Good Samaritan, I think they need to follow suit in doing the same thing and opening up their mega churches.
Yes,
because some of them do have like gym facilities and theater areas where they can open up to the homeless, or a warming station as they call it. I mean,
and honestly, believe it or not, I understand there's a lot of people without the power. Okay, even if it's a mega church, you're without the power, but at least let people come in to be protected from this cold, bitter cold and wind, at least something. And
well, especially if I'm a parent, well, I ain't gonna say that. If I'm a tithing member of that church, and if I'm a member of a big church, go ahead and open up your door so I can come on in, because I done already informed the deacons and the elders, like, hey, you know what? Maybe my family, the lights went off, and can we come and warm? Well, we don't know, the church could be out of lights, but if they not, and you would think they're not because it's a mega church, they have generators ready.
Well,
but
oftentimes it's interesting to point out, you know, there's a lot of churches say, you know, you should donate 10% of your income, you know, be a good person, do good deeds. Exactly. But then if, let's say, some of those people who are part of the church, when they ask for some help, why is it so difficult for people to actually get some help? Why do they have to throw these people through loops and hoops, hoping to get something without necessarily really making it happen? You know, I think that's something a lot of people have an issue with, you know.
It's a real touchy subject, and I'm glad that you brought it up. And we're gonna go there. We might well go there.
Let's go there.
Since you didn't open up the can of worms. I mean, look, I've been in church all my life. I understand the church business size and all that other stuff. However, you know, it's ironic that it's like, you know, members pay for membership to attend the church, and then when they need to get help, they can get help, at least from my local and community church.
That awfully sounds like type of business, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, church is a business now.
That is business.
It's no longer volunteer, and it's turned into a business. And it's sad to say that the Roman Catholic Church has played a big part in that. Of course, you know, you have to do the research on how they were selling purgatory and stuff like that to get the people money. So, hey, if you die, just turn your money over to us. God will bless you in the afterlife. Right. However, found out there's, you know, you go back to the dust of the ground, because they said, dust you come from, dust you shall return. Now, look, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching now, but these are facts. And it's a shame where, because at one time I know you spoke on it, that when you and your mom was homeless for a while, you reached out to church in Florida, and pretty much they did not really do nothing.
Oh, trust me. I was fortunate enough to not necessarily be there, you know, to hear exactly what the priest said. You know, that was my mom, but you know, from what she told me, man, I was really upset about it. You know, I was like, okay, wow, you know, we're just, you know, hardworking people. We're going through some stuff. It sucks because, like, you know, honest people, it takes you a lot to swallow your pride for ask for any help.
Correct.
But then once you come there, they're like, no, why should you? Why are you asking me for help? You know, and that's one of those things where kind of really showed me kind of what church and the religion is really about.
Correct.
And during these times, it's interesting to point out, you see, you know, where are these religious leaders and so-called, you know, shepherds that are going to lead us, particularly, you know, in this time when, you know, there's people who really need help, they need safety, they need shelters, you know, they're nowhere really to be found. That just kind of makes me think, you know, they're very similar to politicians. You know, during this time, you know, are politicians gonna really try to do anything good for us? Are these religious figures gonna try to do anything good for us? Well, I can answer that with another question. Do Catholic priests make good babysitters? I mean,
well, we know what they do to the little children, but hey, we're not gonna go there. However, I believe leadership reflect attitude, and yes, I took that line from Remember the Titans. However, I mean,
there's a lack of leadership.
There is a lack of leadership, and then I've said across the board with every religion that has professed to lead in their community. Not saying I will come to the aid of some to say they do try to help those that they can help, but I would say the mass majority, and I've said the bigger churches, I just feel that they don't do enough. And just my opinion. They just don't do enough because they have the resources to do it, but I just think they don't do enough because it's if you're drawing in millions and millions of dollars every Sunday or every month or however you want to do it every year. I mean, there ought to be a gathering of ministers to say, hey, you know what? To avoid any type of backlash from the public, let's all get together, put our monies together, and let's build a facility that will house those that are in need. And we know people are always in need of something.
Well, see, you're absolutely right. But, you know, it kind of also makes me think about where does all the money go to? I mean, $10 million mansion, really? Bentley? But you're going to preach to me about, you don't donate to church, you don't do this and that, you're going to go to hell?
Right.
Really? But you're driving in, so if for you it's okay to drive a Bentley, it's okay for you to have a $10 million mansion, but if I have something nice, oh God, for Christ's sake, you know, I should feel bad about myself.
Wow. And honestly,
I went there.
You know what? I have heard that on several occasions. Ministers asking they flock to buy them jets, helicopters. You know, I know one community church bought the pastor a Rolls Royce for his anniversary. I'm trying to find an anniversary for what? Anniversary of what? Serving the community? Nah.
Anyone a Rolls Royce, really?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's kind of far-fetched. People say, oh, we just doing it to appreciate the pastor. But however,
talk about the ego.
When you got members, you know you're going to have members there who's going to lack something because, you know, jobs, you know, people get laid off from their jobs. And if I come to the church and my spouse got laid off and I'm asking for assistance, you don't have to physically give me the money. I can give you the information to my mortgage company, to the light company, and say, hey, can you bless us for a couple of months?
Right.
And I think that's not fair. But if it's like it forces me to ask our government to step in with something that our local church community should have already been doing on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. I mean, like I say, it's a touchy topic. However, I believe during this time, it's not touchy.
Well, during this time, you know, a true leader step up. You know, it's all about being a leader and doing what leaders do, not necessarily portraying this so-called leader.
So wait. So let me ask you about Ted Cruz, him taking off to Cancun. So what's up with that? Is he showing leadership there?
Oh, absolutely not. And a lot of people are going to agree with me on that. They're going to say, well, how good for him. I mean, he has money and he can just, he finds himself unprepared. Guess what? He can at least go to Cancun. But what about us? You know?
Well, everybody can get in a plane and go to Cancun.
Exactly. But that just goes to show you that if you have money, you have options.
That is true. Now that's good. That is good. When you got money, you do got options.
Right. But the money doesn't create the man. That's the point.
So the money create options, right?
Right. But it's about leadership. Why did you choose to be in that position in the first place?
Right. And when it's push come to shove, you know where to lead. Mm-hmm. You know where at these warming sites to greet the people and say, hey, I'm with you through all of this. Right. That does has maybe had put a bad taste in a lot of the voters, because I didn't vote for in the voters' mouth about how he reacted. You know, of course, once he got the news, he jumps back on the plane and come back. Honestly, in my opinion, I would have stayed. You know, hey, I'm already in Cancun.
I already made my decision. Might as well enjoy it.
I might as well just stay here. But he made the decision to come on back because he felt guilty. That's what guilty people do. Oh, you know, I better go back. I shouldn't have never left. Well, yes, he should not have ever left during this time. Not saying that he couldn't enjoy himself,
right.
And maybe,
right,
maybe just send his family.
That's what a lot of politicians do. However, it's interesting to point out it's not necessarily what he's doing right now. It's what we've seen all these politicians repetitively through all these months during COVID, correct, telling you to do one thing, but they do completely different thing. Oh, put on your mask, stay 6 feet away, while we have a nice $1,000 per plate dinner, drinking some good wine, and being next to each other like, what, 2 feet away, whisper each other in the ear? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, that's why I say I can't, for the God's sake, I mean, poor people, let's say this here. Poor people, listen to me right now as I'm speaking to you live. Please hear this. It does not matter if you're Republican or Democrat. If you ain't a part of the super rich or the wealthy, they don't give a rat's ass about you. And please do, let's not even bring up race on this. Because believe me, every race is in a category of being one paycheck away from being homeless. Yeah. So let's not even go there. But it's crazy to me that we still vote these people into office.
And they're still there. After all this time, you know, they're still somehow there. And that's what puzzles me. I mean,
I just believe it's programming and a little, I would say, ignorant of the people. I think they just, you know, just don't want to do things to leave their family or to leave their home or to leave themselves. So you give someone else that responsibility to make decisions for you. I don't need nobody to make a decision for me when I'm capable.
Exactly.
I don't have Alzheimer's, and thank God that I can make a decision, a sound decision based on my intellect.
Right.
However, and this is a free one that I'm going to give y'all. See, the word government, if you break the word down, govern simply means I place you over or over something. Mint, not M-E-N-T, M-I-N-T is money. So in other words, we say government, I give you ruler over my dollar bill. Right. So whatever you decide to do with it, you go ahead and govern it. So, hey, if you want to spend it on a $500,000 golf trip, go ahead on. It's on us. But that's what the word government means. It's not, believe me, to govern and make decisions, because as we see it mostly all the time, they don't make the good decision for the best interest of the American people.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, I know some of you may disagree. However, that's why it's my opinion. This is why it's my show.
That's right.
Show. However, I mean, yes, I understand, you know, if you got wealth and you want a tax break, and that's good, that's okay. But what are you doing with the tax break? Are you going out and blessing someone else with it? God and bless you with all this money. Go bless somebody else.
Hey, but you know what they say? It's my money, and I'm gonna do what I want with it.
Well, yeah. You know, of course, I work hard for it. Nobody can tell me what to do, and that's true.
Right.
Can't tell you what to do. You earned it, but you got to remember, the people support that, and they the one who helps put money in your bank account.
Absolutely.
By buying your product, by supporting your activities, whether you're a sports, you're an entertainer, you're a politician.
Oh, that's a whole different actually subject that we're eventually going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far off base. I don't want to get too far off base, but I just believe doing any type of natural disaster, I believe all our leaders should step up and lead by example. That including pastors, bishops, and overseers, and you know. But I just believe that, you know, if we're going to make it as a community, everybody have to play their part.
Right.
And they're including politicians.
Absolutely. I mean, it's supposedly for the people, by the people. But
All right. Say something, because you know, when you find yourself kind of backed up in the corner where you basically rely on someone else to make a decision.
Right.
Well, it goes to show you that they're going to make decisions based on what they're thinking,
Right.
not the best interest of
Right.
the community. And we seen it happen on countless
Well,
occasions.
that's why politicians are so easily manipulated. With money and
Well,
nice fancy dinners, little luxury trips here and there.
I mean,
I think you can do a little something for me. I mean, it's almost like you're flirting with someone to get something out.
well, I mean, that's sometimes people say that's the part of survival. You got to scratch each other back, or one hand washes the other. That cliche. I just
I
believe
agree.
fair is fair, and if you're going to be in that position of power, go ahead and lead
Right.
like you're supposed to. But when you begin not to lead and you begin to do other things that is contrary to the masses of the people and meeting their needs, then we have a problem.
Well, I think that's exactly the reason why we should have terms on every single position in the power.
That is a good thing you brought up.
Because eventually, with time, people lose their edge. People are very easily corrupt, manipulated. You stay in one position
Right.
for too long, you're gonna start benefiting of it from
We
one
get
way or the other.
complacent.
Exactly, complacent. That's why it's so important that very so often we change the position in a power.
Right.
That way that no one person can be so subdued by other,
Temptations.
temptations. Yes, that's an excellent word.
And of course, when you look to man, of course you got to remember that man is subject to error.
Right.
That's just part of the journey. But at the same time, I believe in making less mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. But when you can make as less mistakes as you can, that means you are growing. It's showing that you're
Exactly.
a growing individual.
You're learning from your previous mistakes.
You go.
That's the point. It doesn't matter how bad experience it is.
And
As long as you learn from it,
yeah.
that's what really counts. That's
And
what really-
Houston seems like to never learn from their mistakes. I don't want to sound like I'm sounding slow on it, but it's crazy to me that Houston can go through all these hurricanes. And it's like they never learn. I'm like, hey man, you just had one 10 years ago,
Right.
and you still haven't got this stuff fixed. But hey, I let you know they're just misusing the taxpayer dollars for their own benefits.
Well, think about Richmond Road. I mean, how long it's been like that, and nobody has fixed it? I mean, how many years now? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. We I think we got a lot of soul searching to do as the American people. I think we are so programmed and so brainwashed in what we have been taught growing up since a young lad or a young lady, and we're going to stick to what we learn. And I just believe this: if we are not challenged, we remain unchanged. And I believe people get kind of cringy when you begin to challenge them
Of course.
and becoming a better version of themselves.
See, people prefer to be complacent in one place, and anything that challenges them, they see it as a threat rather than as an option. But that's very crucial in leadership, in being a leader. Seeing
Right.
those challenges as an opportunities, not as a threat,
Right.
not as being defensive, but rather seeing, okay, this is what I'm facing with. What is it I can do to get through this?
Correct. I mean, it's of course, anything in life is a challenge. You got to face it. But I believe by facing it, you're saying to yourself, you know what? I want to become better. I want to do better. But when you are in leadership position, of course, everyone is looking to you.
Right.
And pretty much they're saying, okay, guide us or lead us. Because we don't know. So help us to push us in the right direction.
We have faith in you.
And we have faith in you, especially from a home life perspective. The husband, the wife and the children look to the father for leadership. I get, when the father is not there, but I get that. However, leadership should always be in the forefront when you are trying to lead.
Of course.
You should be always in the front leading,
Mm-hmm.
being an example. But of course, we have those leaders who are easily persuaded by that mighty dollar.
My question is, we have a lot of people out there who are just unfit to be leaders. I think that's a good term, maybe too harsh, maybe not.
No.
But it's, a lot of times there's so many people who come to a leadership position without having leadership skills.
Right.
And that's where, that's where the discord is. How do you become this leader without leadership skills? Why you put in this position when you don't have the experience?
Well, because that's my uncle. So
That's a good point.
My uncle gonna put that's my granddad,
Yeah,
or even my dad.
that's correct.
And most jobs, I can tell you this here, most jobs or most officials have gotten their position based on someone speaking for them or speaking on their behalf. And they say, hey, he's a good guy, go ahead,
Right.
Same thing we do in a club or somebody, hey, go ahead, let him in. I'm good, I'll vouch for him. And we are vouching for people who
Right.
have no type of leadership skills, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Period. And it caused a rift in the community because one side of the community may get better treatment than the other side of town.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
River Oaks may get all the care.
Mm-hmm.
South Park, no. Or Fifth Ward, no. Or Sunnyside, no. Or
Yeah.
Brentwood. It's just all about those who, quote unquote, lead for or empower for certain special interest group. And I say that.
I'm glad that you brought it up because there's a lot of Houstonians watching this who are going to be like, yes, he said it. He said it.
Yes,
And I'm
yeah.
so glad that you did.
Well, I'm gonna say it,
Right.
because I think people just not really realizing what's really going on. They really don't know what's really going on. They don't even see the bigger picture because why? We brainwashed. We have been programmed. So, with that being said, man, this been a good hot topic. I know we started off with the weather, but we end up with you
Right.
politicians. Y'all better do better. Y'all better come on with it because I believe the public is tired of this foolishness y'all putting out to the public. So let's get busy. So come on, say go on. We're gonna be up out of here, Maximilian.
That's right. We're going to be right out. And we hope seeing you next time. If you have any questions, comments, or, praises, please let us know. Please like our YouTube page. Please like this video. And please leave a comment or subscribe.
There you go. Awesome. And that is the end. See you next time on the Very Opinionated Show.